Hey, Grots and Gits. Today is the first day of the World Championships of Warhammer. So we do have the missions for today. So I figured I'm going to bring you a very different type of video because I think this is going to give you like a lot of value on the inner workings of like how you just prepare and get ready for high level competition. So this video is going to be cut into like two pieces, but I'm going to edit it together to be one video. So basically, it is the morning right now, and we know what our missions are for today. So I'm going to show you just like how would I prepare my deployment strategy for the missions that we have. And then at the second part of the video, which I'll have to edit in later, I'll do like a review of how the games went today. So I'll like kind of keep you guys up to date how things went. So this is my mindset. This is how I prepare. So day one, both of the missions are going to be on GW7. So you can see we got the terrain here for all that. The first mission is going to be the ritual, and the army and the mission rule will be stalwarts, which means that you can form an action and still shoot with battle line units. And that is doesn't really affect me at all. So this is the ritual. So the first thing that we have to do is we go, all right, cool. That means that these are not real, so I'm just going to delete these two objectives. Because in the ritual, remember, you got to make your own objectives. So I'll just take this off. I'm not. All right. So my army, I'm going to do like the super in-depth after the tournament so people can understand my thought process for it. But this is the army. It is called the Bloody Road. We've got 2 Gladiator Lancers, 2 Ball Predators, 2 Predator Destructors, 1 Ballistic Dreadnought. We've got good old Mephiston, the Sanguinor, Calidus, a 5-man unit of JPI, a 5-man Infiltrator Squad. We got Scouts, and we got the Dante Blob with his Sanguinary Guard. So when I'm approaching this mission, I know one thing automatically. This is a melee pressure army's dream table because we've got a beautiful staging point for Dante right here. With an advance and charge, I can pretty much get anywhere on the table to assault him. I've got a beautiful staging point for Dante right here. I can get anywhere on the table to assault. Depending on the army I'm playing against, this is also a marvelous staging place. Because if I'm playing a shooting army, he cannot shoot me from here. He would have to come all the way out to the middle to expose himself if he would like to shoot me at this beautiful staging point here. So what I know is I've got amazing melee staging areas. So I'm just going to put a sanguinary guard in each one of them so you guys can kind of see my thought process. So basically, no matter what's going to happen this game, I know I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here, or I'm going to be here. Like, those are the 3 places that I can put Dante. So as I'm planning my deployment, I just know I just know automatically that's what I'm looking at. Then I look at the table and I go, okay, cool. What are the firing lanes? Well, we've got one huge firing lane right here, which means this is where you control with your tanks, right? If you want to move through with a tank, that's where you're going to go. On this table, there's really, if you have big tanks, you only have 2 things that you can do with them. If you want to use them turn 1, turn 2, they have to be deployed here. If you want to use them turn 3, turn 4, they're going to be deployed over here. There is a thin line where you can make a little bit of a shooting through in this area. So basically what this is telling me is that shooting is not necessarily the biggest deal on this particular mission. Unless you're super, super fast, or you have, like, uppy-downy shenanigans, which some people do. So I know my tanks are going to be a little bit less effective than typical. If I'm going into a shooting matchup, I have to control this shooting firing lane. Which means if I'm going into a shooting matchup, I'm going to have my Lancers right here. Right here, they will not be able to be shot turn 1. So if I draw a line, I know he won't be able to see me turn 1 with anything. Unless he wants to come up through the middle, at which point I think that's awesome. And even then, he still can't see me. So this is a perfectly safe place for my 2 super control models to be deployed. Then I can have a Ball Predator here. This guy can very easily be deployed here and be perfectly safe. I can just like wedge him somewhere. There's a way to make it work. Something like this. So I don't care, because now I can easily turn 1, just advance him and put him right here. And he is pretty much 100% safe right here. Now, like I said earlier, there is a very thin line here. If he does have a big shooting platform, then I would stage here instead. But so now I know, okay, cool, I can put this guy here really safely, and he's in a good position to be able to zoom, zoom, zoom. My Ballistic Dreadnought, if I look at and I measure his base actually will fit through this gap, which means this is going to be a pretty good place to deploy him. Turn 1, I can't get shot. Turn 2, I can easily move him out to shoot my opponent. This also helps me control the midfield, so basically no matter what my opponent is, if he wants to come through the midfield, I can at least walk through with my ballistics to try to pop, say, a transport or something like that. I've got another Ball Predator. Depending on the army, I might leave him back here just to hold my home field and Overwatch control. But in most matchups, I probably would have to reserve him on this table because there's just not much for him to do, which would mean both of my Predators might actually go in reserves as well. I might start one on the table just to give myself a little bit of extra, like, glass cannon firepower. Maybe I would put him, like, here. Just want to make sure I can't draw that line. Yeah, so I could have, like, 3 tanks here, so I have got very strong firepower on this flank right here, especially with the ballistas wants to walk through. So I control this firing lane, so my opponent has to be cautious of that. I've got 2 tanks in reserves, so that later games, if he's not screening his backfield, I can come and wreck him. And then the rest of it is pretty academic, right? So this is the ritual, which means you don't score anything for holding your midfield, your home field, which means my infiltrators are more or less just going to be used to screen out my opponent's deep striking. And on a hammer and anvil, that's really, really valuable because, damn, does this, like, is there, like, a lot of room to deep strike? And if you just put, like, the little aura on your infiltrator, you can really see how much I can screen with just 1 unit. So, like, this 1 unit realistically is going to screen my entire backfield for me. So I'm never going to have to worry about my opponent deep striking on me, and I don't even care about holding them, about keeping them on the objective, because you don't score for it in the ritual. So basically I can do like this, and this will more or less screen the entire backfield for me. Let me just put this bubble, just so you can see just how much is screened from 1 unit. And then I could just have, like, 1 Lancer here with fire support screening the rest of it. All right, so that gets all the tanks. We see where Dante is going to go. So Dante can deploy really anything, anywhere, because he's so fast. I probably deploy him somewhere like this, just to force my opponent to be smart about their deployment. And then in turn 1, they're either going to stage in one of these 3 places that I've marked for early for you. And guys, this is just agnostic of whatever army I'm going to play against. They're going to go here, they're going to go there, or they're going to go there. And then lastly, I've got Singwar. He's always going to be a deep strike. Mephiston, probably going to hang out right here. And Calidus probably going to hang out here. So I got these 2 guys deployed. I'm ready to get containment turn 1. I'm ready to get containment turn 1. I'm ready to get whatever. My scouts can very easily deploy here if I want them to, which can get me an early engage on all fronts. It can get me actually quite a bunch of stuff. But since this is the ritual and I don't necessarily have a objective to contest here, I probably start my scouts roughly here, just to stop my opponent from deploying somewhere where I don't really want him to deploy. I got a 5-man unit of JPI, and they're basically just going to go wherever Dante doesn't. So they can probably start here. They'll hop here if I want to send Dante on this flank. They'll probably hop here, just so I can have a little extra, like, charge force. And that's pretty much the deployment, man. So this is the ritual. This is GW7, and the deployment might change a little bit based off of what army I'm playing, but it's going to be basically the same regardless. Like, if I'm playing a big melee pressure army, I'm probably going to start both balls on the table. 1 ball to control this flank, 1 ball to just be able to move up and control this flank for shooting. But overall, man, this is it. So I really like just taking a look at the pre-deploys and just making a game plan based off of it. Now, the next mission that we're going to play would be the Linchpin, and Linchpin is going to be on tipping point. So I would just do this, but it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same deployment. So it's going to be the same layout. So the way that this one changes, it really doesn't change much. It just changes where people can deploy. So now, on this deployment, the Ball Predator would deploy here. The Calidus probably still deploys here. Maybe my JPI deploy here or something. Like this. Ballistas probably still deploys here. I probably still have Dante right here to start. The staging places don't change, right? I can still stage here. I can still stage here. I can still stage here. And that's basically it, man. Everything else more or less the same. These lines are exactly the same. My opponent still can't shoot me here. Mephiston probably may deploy just a little bit closer up. And it's really funny because the terrain is the way it is, the deployment actually doesn't change all that much on you. So hopefully this is useful for you guys. This is just my thoughts. I might actually turn this into 2 videos. So this will be day 1, part 1, and maybe afterwards I'll do day 2, part 2 with the recap to see how things went. I won't use TTS for that. I'll just kind of be talking to you guys through the worlds. Anyway, I hope you all have an awesome freaking day, and until next time, Krumping. Bye-bye.